Welcome everybody to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. This is a special edition, new alert. As many of you probably heard, and maybe some of you do not know, Chicago Bears head coach Matt Eberflus has been fired from the Chicago Bears, the first in Chicago Bears history, the first ever coach to be fired in season from the Chicago Bears. So this is history in itself. I know many of us, after watching the Thanksgiving Day debacle yesterday, pretty much saw this coming, at least was hoping. I know many of us woke up this morning and was wondering what the hell was going on. Like we saw the game yesterday and was wondering what the hell was going on, that this man hasn't been fired. Well, it's official now. All the networks are reporting that he has been fired. ABC, ESPN, NBC, all the different sports media outlets are saying that Matt Eberflus is now fired as the Chicago Bears head coach. Offensive coordinator Thomas Brown will be the interim head coach. And yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and let's kick this off and let's bring in some guys. First of all, one of the guys that's going to join me is our boy AMP, our man Amp. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Kamish. How's it going, Amp?
Man, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.
I know you're excited.
You know I am, man. Hey, I don't want to see anybody lose their job, man, especially around the holidays. Real tough. But this is like long overdue. You know what I mean? And I'll piggyback off of what you said, man. When the national media and former head coaches start talking about, your coach is messed up, and you know what I'm saying? I knew it was over. I knew it was over, man. I knew it was over.
Yeah. I mean, the debacle that we saw yesterday is one of the worst things that I have ever seen as far as when it comes down to coaching decisions in football history. I know I've been an advocate as far as with Eberflus, and that's because I'm not a proponent of firing somebody after year two, especially after you saw an improvement. We all knew that year one, that was a whole tank job. We knew it was going to be some bullshit anyway. So I didn't really count year one. Year two, we saw the progression as far as how the defense stepped up. We still knew that Lou Getsy was still a shitty play caller. So they fired Lou Getsy any damn way. So I wanted to see what Matt Eberflus can improve on as far as a head coach going into the next season. That's why I wasn't a proponent of people sitting up there, oh, we should have fired him then. We knew he was a lame duck coach. No, we didn't know. Because what we did was one thing that we couldn't dispute is that we saw progress. Now, he has sit up there and regressed this year big time with his coaching decisions. And I think that he's probably a great guy. I think the players probably do like him a lot. But as JB and some other people have said, he showed that he is not a leader of men. And that's what you needed, a leader of men. And it's shown throughout this season that you have a team that's literally lost. How many games we lost now? Eight games.
Six in a row.
Six in a row, and 6 of them have been by at least one score, at least by 7 points or less. 6 of them. 2 of them, the Arizona game and the Patriots game. We had those games, and those was pretty much blowout games, but you could tell the team didn't have their heart into it. So after that Washington Hail Mary, so
what was that? What, Pal? I think the job was just too big for him, man. This job was just too big for him, and he showed that, especially these last 6 weeks. He showed it that like it was too much pressure for him. I mean, I'm guessing. Matter of fact, I'm not even guessing. I know he's gonna be a good defensive coordinator for someone. Yeah, but as a head coach, he consistently showed like he could not deal with the pressure. He could not deal with that. It's on me. Like Caleb needed that. Caleb needed that yesterday.
Yeah,
like
I think accountability was big.
All those games we watched, like with 36 seconds left, you've seen clock management. You know, either the quarterback was calling his own plays or the plays were coming in enough time. When he stood up there and doubled down on it yesterday, Foul, when he said that, you know what, I knew we had 32 seconds left, and this play was going to take 18 seconds. And I'm thinking, like, what are you talking about? When he stood up at the podium and said that, I'm like, it's time for him to go. He's way in over his head. He's in over his head, man. You know what I'm saying? As a head coach, you know. And then when the rooks stand up there and the veterans say, like, we did enough to win this game. They ain't putting anything on the coach. We did enough to win this game. You know what I mean? He lost them. And so we move on. And like everybody knows, like 50 years I've been a Bears fan. And like you said, I've never seen a coach get fired in season. But this was due. This was due. And I don't know what the future brings, but me personally, let me state this right now for the record. Thomas Brown as the temporary head coach, okay, you know, but in reality, I don't want any residual from this coaching staff. So you get a guy a shot at the head coaching position, but me personally, I don't want any residual. When the season is over, clean house, man. Clean house. I mean, what? So we have 5 games left.
What do you mean by clean house? What do you mean by clean house?
I mean, from this coaching staff, we have 5 games left. You know, and they're all tough, and they're all tough games. So I'm asking you, what do you think if we should go 5-0 these last 5 games? What do we do with Thomas Brown?
I mean, what do you think? Even if you go 5-0 in these next 5 games, I think you will have to evaluate him and, you know what I'm saying, possibly bring him in for a head coaching interview at least. You know, I wouldn't sit up there and put all my eggs in one basket, because I want to see how he finishes with Caleb. If Caleb finishes great towards the end of the season, yes, you have to obviously consider him as a head coaching candidate. I mean, because the crazy part about it is, if they go 5-0, somebody is. I tell you this, if you decide to move on from him, somebody's going to pick his ass up. He's going to have a coaching job, whether it be offensive coordinator or even possibly a head coaching position in the NFL come next year. So if they go 5-0, you will be hearing rumblings from people inside the organization, outside the organization, that maybe he should be the Chicago Bears' next head coach. Matt Eberflus gave him a shot. He obviously fumbled the ball. Like some coach sit up there, like some people said, some people are just meant to be coordinators. They're not meant to be head coaches. They're just meant to be coordinators. So it is what it is. I mean, that's all you can sit up there and do. He gave it a shot. He was terrible with his time management. He was terrible with challenging another fucking goddamn challenge that everybody in the fucking world knew that was not a fucking fumble. It was not a complete. It was an incomplete pass. Everybody knew that. Why did you challenge it? Why?
Right. Or his foot. The punt returner's foot on the end zone.
Right. Why didn't you challenge that? Yeah. I'd much rather him challenge that one. Yeah.
There's so many things. I mean, and you look at the time of possession. Green Bay. The Lions had 270-something yards in the first half. The Bears had 50, 52. It was 22 minutes time of possession for the Lions. It was 7 for the Bears. It was 18 first down for the Lions. It was 5 for the Bears. It's just a plethora of ineptitude. He showed that team was not ready. That team was not ready to go out and ball out. It wasn't. Exactly. It was not prepared to ball out. And the kid, I've heard a lot of people since last night, you know, talk about it was on the kid. It was on the kid. He should have got the play in. Like, no, this is a rookie looking to the sideline. You can clearly see him looking to the sideline, saying, like, what's the play? That was with 32 seconds to go. Yeah. You know, and then you see the coach, you know, looking with this blank look on his face. If the kid was a veteran, He'd have known. No, get to the line. He was trying to hurry everybody up to get lined up for it. But there's a kid.
Right. Hold on. Let me bring in JB real quick. Let me bring in JB. We got the stat man and got all the stats from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. Up with JB.
What up, bro?
Man, I got the gold hat on today because we finally did something right. It's not much to celebrate, but damn it, he gone. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. He is gone. And now we can just go on with, hopefully these guys just, play football for the remainder of the year. Some competent, good, hard-hitting football. It starts December 8th, y'all. The Thomas Brown era starts this December 8th. And I just feel like, although it's hard to kind of get out of this mire that he put us in, but I feel confident, Fallon and I were talking, this team has always been a good team. On paper, it's always been a good enough team to compete. Now, with some competent coaching, of which I feel Thomas Brown is pretty competent. Now, let's see what can happen these next 5 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, tell the truth, not just on paper, but shit on the field. Like I said, they've gone and lost.
Yeah, because
they
these
got
5
games that they lost by 7 points or less. 6 games this year that they're lost. So that just shows you that this team is more than capable of winning games. Is the coaching failure. You can't put it all on the coaching. Players have messed up as well. But when it boils down to key situations, the coaching has failed this team. And it's constantly keep happening. I mean, Eberflus, they said that the man's record is 5-20 in games decided by 1 score or less. 5-20. That's the worst in NFL history. Yeah. And that just shows you. Now, the crazy part about it, you saying 5-20. The man has only been here for 3 years and he hasn't even completed the 3rd year yet. So that shows you how many games that we've been in where it's been a one score game, and we're 5-20.
Yeah, and that I'm telling you, had the Bears not made this historic move today, it'd have been worse, man. It'd have been worse.
We probably would have been adding on to that.
Exactly. Like I shared yesterday, man. It was getting to me. It was like the losses had became like you know what I'm saying? Not feeling that kind of like that sword sticking in you. It was just like, he did it again. And I wasn't talking about the players. I'm talking about the coach, because the coach in the end has to fall on that sword and not double down on, well, we practiced good all week and we were ready to go, when clearly everyone sees that team has not been ready to go. We said they lost 6 in a row, but since the beginning of the season, man, you know what I mean? And that was a easy part of the season. Everybody knew that those first 6 games, we should have been at least 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
We should have been at least 5-1 on paper. Mm-hmm. And now when we get to this part of the schedule, man, he wasn't going to stand a chance. And that's just my opinion going forward, man. As far as Thomas Brown, again, me and Val was talking about it. You probably heard about it. I'm saying, like, right now it's convenient, and I don't want it to be convenient for the Bears. Don't make it easy for them. You know what I'm saying? I agree with Val. If he does well, give him an interview. But let's not take the easy right out. You know what I'm saying? You see where this team can go. This is a good team. And with a quarterback, I've seen a lot of bad quarterbacks drafted and traded for, on Chicago Bears. But this kid has it, man. Yeah. He has it. He just needs coaching. He needs coaching.
Let me ask you this, man.
Okay, you know what? We have a coach on the roster now, and let's go with him. The rest going forward. I'm talking about 2025 going forward. Let's just go with Thomas Brown. He's got to do. He's got to work.
Let me ask JB a question. JB, Amp had asked this question earlier. Go ahead. Ask him the question that you asked earlier, Amp. That you asked me.
Which one?
The one that you were talking about as far as what would you do if Thomas Brown goes undefeated?
Right.
Goes 5-0 in these next 5 games.
Go 5-0 going forward. What do you do, JB? What do we do with him?
So for us, I mean, as badly as this may sound, to me, Thomas Jones is about to interview for his
Brown
head coaching job.
Talking about Brown?
Thomas Brown. I'm sorry, I said
Brown.
Thomas Jones.
Yeah.
I like Thomas Jones, though.
Yeah.
But Thomas Brown is interviewing for his next head coaching job. Unfortunately, I just don't think it'll be here. And here's why. Ryan Poles, we all know, never really got to pick his head coach. He was given the coaches that he could pick from, right? Then, because of the whole Trace Armstrong thing, they were all tied in together, even with Waldron. But what we also have not seen yet, though, where is Kevin Warren's true power, right? Is that something where those two are going to sit down and say, look, let's get somebody that's going to come back in here and reestablish the culture, because that's one, because no matter how many veterans and stars we have on the team, when the culture is out of whack, you see what happens. Because a lot of times you see the players, they're not giving up, but they're looking at the coaches like, man, did you just call that for real? Right. And they second guessing them like, man, we know we shouldn't have done that. But for Thomas Brown, he's in kind of like a situation with Carolina. He had nothing to work with, but did enough to where you could say, hey, this guy can coach. I feel in these next 5 games, of which 2 of them are very winnable, in my opinion. The next ones, I just feel like if Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota are already playoff locked, we might get a cheapie. We might get a cheap win here and there. You know, like Detroit was playing game with me if I was talking yesterday. Hell, they disrespected us so much, they ran an off-tackle play with Penei Sewell to throw the ball. They didn't take us serious, you know, and it almost came back to bite them in the ass. Same thing with Green Bay. Same thing with Minnesota. So we're definitely capable, but I just fear that Thomas Brown is not going to get the shake. 5-0, you remember what happened to Antonio Pierce. Now you're looking at Antonio Pierce like, can the guy coach? He might be coordinator worthy, but right now, head coach, and they'll run through a brick wall with them, but the Raiders, they're just not a good team. And unfortunately, you can be a good coach with a bad product and get fired.
But you know what? You know what, JB? The Raiders are a different animal, man. They still outgrew the $100 million. They're still paying him from $100 million. So Antonio Pierce did do his thing last year at the end of the season, but the Raiders are kind of like a different animal. And like I'm watching Thomas Brown this year, I'm being honest with you. It's just like they were running the same plays, man. Like why last week? I'm just off the top of my head. Why last week? Roschon Johnson got 2 touches. Yesterday he had none. You know what I'm saying? Like it was pretty much the same offense. Even though Thomas Brown took the reins, it was the same offense, man. So like you know you when you got that thump on your team, I'm just using this one example. When you have that thump on the team, you got to use them, man.
I agree with you on the usage. Yeah, like definitely. Like last week, I thought they should have gave him the ball a little bit more. But you can't dispute about what you saw from him as far as a play calling. Yeah, and then the one reason why Roschon Johnson ain't really getting no carries is that Roschon went out with a concussion.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he went out with a concussion yesterday early on. I want to say either late part of the second half. Late part of the first half. I'm sorry.
Because Travis Homer came in.
Yeah, Travis Homer was in there majority of the game, and is doing like his duties, like as far as coming in as a pass blocker and spelling Swift from time to time. So also look for the Chicago Bears to probably pick someone up from off the practice squad or off of waivers or something to bring in an extra running back, because we don't know exactly how long that he's going to be out. But like you were saying, I would have liked to see more usage of Roschon Johnson just to give them a little, you know what I'm saying, a little different look, to get the defense a little different look.
I mean, you can't hand him the ball one time and think he's gonna ball out. Like any player, any position, they need those reps. They need those touches. and he wasn't getting it. So I'm hoping, with Thomas Brown and him knowing, like, there's a possibility. This is actually an interview. It's a 5-week interview process.
This is definitely an interview.
Like JB said, for someone,
it could even, depending, and that's why I said at the top of the show, depending on how Caleb looks and depending on their rapport, this could possibly be a potential interview for the head coaching job here in Chicago as well. Because if Caleb comes out, I don't know what he got, 11 TDs, 13 TDs, 14 TDs, something like that right now, and he continues to ball out and ends up with 25 TDs, 4,000 yards, 5 interceptions or something with a nice completion percentage.
4 interceptions. 4.
I think he got a 5. He got 5.
Yeah. You got 5?
Yeah, I think he got 5. But go ahead.
Here's the thing, and I feel what you all are saying, but you have to be fair to Thomas Brown on both fronts. This is not his playbook. This is still Shane Waldron's playbook.
Exactly.
He's just picking plays that he feels would help Caleb mature and put the Bears in a better position to win. We don't know what Thomas Brown's actual playbook, because even with Carolina, that was not his playbook. So as an OC, we know he can call plays, but we need to see, one, I think he can be a leader of men, but what does Thomas Brown's playbook look like, right? And what OC would he get to kind of mesh what he wants to do? Because we know 2 things for sure, 1 thing for certain. You can't throw the ball 50 times in Chicago, because right around now to January, it gets a little harder to throw that ball that many times. You're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to get creative with your zone blocking schemes, especially with how porous our line is. That's not something that Waldron, in my opinion, that's not something that he took into account, because if you look at most of his plays, it's vertical and cute.
And cute, yeah.
I don't see a lot of smash mouth.
Yeah.
But you got a smash mouth running back.
Right. And hold that thought for 1 second, JB. Hold that thought for 1 second. We want to bring in another member. We got the man, the Tank, better known as Frank, in the background. So go ahead, bring Frank on in here.
What's up, guys? Man,
what's going on,
was I thankful this Thanksgiving to wake up to that shit, man? Let me tell you.
Well, did you really wake up to it, or it was just something that happened a little bit later on?
I did. I took a Benadryl, and my ass didn't wake up till like 11:30. So
he got his TikTok wish. That was on his TikTok thing.
I did put that on my TikTok.
That was the last thing I wish that happened. I wake up to that news. So
yeah, that was
put it into existence. Thank you, Frank.
No, and I was listening in the background, so no reason to fill me in. And I was wanted to go back with what JB was saying too, and it was perfectly said. I still don't like the playbook, but I mean, our new OC, what probably will be our new head coach for the rest of the year, I mean, he is at least managing that horrible playbook pretty well. Like we are still seeing a lot of vertical. We are still seeing way too many fucking wide receiver screens. I just feel like that's a lot of Waldron shit, and I fucking hate it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I know, Amp, I know you said decently, but the offenses look 10 times better.
100 times.
10 times better.
I listened to what JB said. It made a lot of sense. Like Thomas Brown did inherit Waldron's offense, and so like he hadn't put his pieces to it. In Carolina, that wasn't his. So I mean, does he have it though? And that's when I was talking about the Bears taking the easy route. Does he have that? The ability to put together an offense for this kid, for this team. If Pole's going to put a line around this kid, also we can't ignore it. We can't ignore that. The offensive line has been, I would just say, suspect at best.
I mean, you can definitely say suspect, but I tell people all the time, it don't matter, because at the end of the day, if your offensive line ain't healthy, it don't give a fuck who you draft, who you bring over. If they ass is not available to play, it don't matter. Right went out yesterday.
It does matter.
It doesn't. The best ability is availability.
Your second stringers, your backups got to step up, man. It's just too much of that.
And it Yeah, from what Fowl is saying on that one, we were suspect on our healthy offensive line. Now you're getting
That's my point. That's my point.
Like, I mean,
that's my point.
You need your backups to step up, but if your starters weren't even stepping up, how are we going to expect our backups to come in and actually
I agree.
Well? But again, with this play calling, our offensive line has been better. I mean, in my opinion, it has been better. Other than that sack at the end of the game where fucking Borum was still in his stance by the time Caleb was getting his ass fucking nailed. Like, our offensive line didn't have that bad of a game, in my opinion. At least from what we expect.
They didn't, but part of it too, Frank, you got to give Caleb some of that too, because
I agree with that. Yeah.
There was escapability. He was like, oh shit. And a lot of times he just escaped. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because the line just held up. His escapability bought him some more time, similar to the quarterback we had before. But that's not sustainable.
No, it's not.
Because like to Ant's point, and Fowl's point, the best ability is availability, but when those people are not available, you have to have adequate depth. You have to have adequate and competent depth. And right now, we just got some guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think Bill Murray was like a diamond in the rough, may have been one of those good depth pieces, one of those guys, but he got hurt. So even when the good backup gets hurt, he's not available, to Fowl's point. So now it's like you still putting the cart before the horse. Before we need the kid to be great, we need to have great circumstances around him besides weapons.
Yeah, and you know what? To your point, I totally understand. But this is the thing too. Also, you can't go into a goddamn game, or you can't go into a season sitting up there saying, "I'm just gonna load up on offensive linemen and got nothing else." Now, granted, even though we're talking about depth, you got to look at even with the depth. You had to sit up there and get rid of Nate Davis. Fucking what's his name? What's the guy that just he went out with a concussion last game?
Bates. Bates.
He got hurt.
Wright just got hurt again.
Tevin Jenkins can't stay on the field. Tevin Jenkins can't. I mean, he's
Jenkins is hurt. Wright is hurt.
He's been one of our healthier offensive linemen. Right
honestly, and to be all honestly, why is the offensive line coach Chris Williams still here? Because to be perfectly honest with you,
maybe
me personally, I would have moved Pryor, who has experience playing a tackle position, to the right tackle, and move Baum into the guard position instead of putting Larry Baum out there at the right tackle. You got to sit up there and you got to do something, because I think a lot of times, I don't think this line is as bad.
You drafted right for right tackle.
He got hurt. He got hurt yesterday.
When he got hurt, we should have brought Pryor in.
And that's what I'm saying. So when they come in, man, they've been coming in so quickly. You can't keep up with them, man. And they're not. You know what I'm saying? Giving this kid, I'm giving this kid a lot of credit, man. I know you said he holds the ball too long, but the difference is I don't want to mention the other quarterback. The difference is but I am real quick. The difference is that other quarterback, when he held the ball, he was just shaky and he wanted to run. This kid, when he holds the ball, like he's trying to go through his progression, 1, 2, 3, and if it ain't that, then he's gonna run, and he's still looking to pass it. So it's some bright spots in there, even with this suspect offensive line, or this rotating offensive line that we have. So the bottom line is this for me, and me and Powell was talking about it earlier, leave no residual of this coaching staff. I give thumbs up to Thomas Brown for what he's done, with what he had to work with. And Poles did put something around this kid. He did, but I forgot who missing. But what he didn't do, he put the wide receivers there. He put the running back there that he thought. You know what I'm saying? He did, but what he didn't do was build from the inside. He didn't put that line around him, and it shows. And so now it falls back on the coaches. It falls back on the coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like this. So don't leave a residual. Everybody must go. This is a Black Friday sale, man. Everybody must go. Everything must go. Everything. At the end of the season, all of them. special teams coach, D-line coach.
You know what?
O-line coach.
I know you think all of them must go, but the thing is this, and you're going to hear this from Bears fans. You're going to hear this from the national media, and it will be such a fucking Bear thing to do, is that, let's just say, for instance, Thomas Brown does end up he shows vast improvement. He goes 5-0 or something, and the Chicago Bears decide to move on from him. He goes get a head coaching position somewhere else and becomes like a Mike Tomlin. Wouldn't that be the Chicago Bears type of shit? Wouldn't that be a Chicago Bears type of move?
You're not wrong.
See, I hear what you're saying, and I do. But I'm not going to sit up there and totally disregard a person that you may sit up there and have in-house. Even though, like, hell, you got people sitting up here claiming for Ben Johnson. We don't know if he's a fucking leader of men. We know how he looks with a dominant offensive line. We know how he looks with an experienced and veteran quarterback. We know how he looks with a pretty good dynamic running back tandem. We know how he looks with a pretty good wide receiver. We know how he looks with a pretty good tight end. Yeah. But do we know that that's going to actually sit up there and transition to when he becomes a head coach? And we also know that he has a head coach who's pretty good on the defensive side and that's been calling their defense. Yeah. So these are all things like, that's why a lot of people are in like, all right, skip that. I'm going to ask each one of you guys, starting with you, M first. Give me your 5 top candidates for a potential Chicago Bears quarterback come next year.
Ben Johnson. I like Ben Johnson. I like Kingsbury. Those are the only 2 I really looked at. I'm sorry, the Browns. The Browns head coach. I like him. So I only had 3. I only had 3.
You got 3?
Yeah. And Thomas Brown's nowhere in there. No.
And, yeah, and Fowler, as far as what you were saying, as far as with Thomas Brown, and I agree, but you have to look at it the other way too. What if we don't go out and be Ben Johnson and then we have a new fucking offensive star quarterback type fucking duo again? Like, I mean, it's hit or miss, and it's just a downfall that the Bears organization always fucks it up.
Most general managers get 2 coaches. They get like Poles. Let's not eliminate him. He has a lot to do with this also. But yeah, that wasn't his coach. You know what I'm saying? So we'll give him another coach. Now, if he picks the wrong coach, like now he's got to go next year. So we're in this vicious cycle. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So you pretty much, Poles has to get this right for his job.
Yeah, and Amp,
we can't go another 6-10. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? 6-11. Yeah. I'm sorry. We can't go 6-11 next year. Now this has to be a win-win situation here. You know, and yes, the rookie has to learn another offense, you know what I'm saying? Another system. He may have to, but this is with the pieces that he has around him and the pieces that should be placed around him. Poles has to strike gold on this, man. That's my opinion. I don't think after next season, if we don't have a winning record, I don't think he survives. And now we're in this vicious cycle again. You know, now we need a general manager. I don't think they'll fire him after that.
They're not going to fire the GM after he just selected a new head coach after 1 year. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
Frank,
and this
give me your 5.
Yeah, this is all right. Yeah, all right, getting our 5. Fuck. I don't have Thomas Brown on there. I think he's going to be auditioning more for his next head coaching job elsewhere. I'm not on the Cliff Kingsbury train because I saw kind of like what I felt like he did in Arizona. Maybe he learned his lesson. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I think it's still – he only had 1 year back in the NFL, so I can't give Cliff. But Ben Johnson is still one of them. And honestly, I'm drawing a brain. Oh, Flores with the Vikings. I wouldn't mind seeing Flores back here as a head coach as well because of the accountability type thing. I would really love a coach to come in here and put his foot down and have accountability. And one other one, and I know I brought it up, if he's even allowed back in the NFL, I would not mind seeing John Gruden back if it's going to be a good price.
No.
You can't give me a reason why other than emails. You cannot give me a reason.
I can give you a reason because he's statistically not that great of a coach. He just
he really wasn't. He really wasn't. And
I want a coach in that locker room who gives accountability, who is going to fucking put his foot down. But I don't want a soft ass coach like Eberflus to come back in here.
Okay, JB, give me your 5. If you got 5, but give me what you got as far as coaches that you would want to see the Bears interview.
I definitely have 5. My thing about like even with Ben Johnson, because everybody says that's the new toy everybody wants for Christmas. But like we talked, hell, we saw some things Ben Johnson yesterday. Like, what was you doing? You was running the ball 21 times in the first half for 140 yards. Then you only ran it 11 in the second half. You was playing games. You need to go ahead. You got your foot on somebody's neck. Go ahead and establish pressure. Apply more pressure, right? So, I mean, if he's on a top 5, I'm not mad at it because that's kind of like the way that the league is going. But for this Bears team, I need somebody that's been there. I need a little veteran moxie, man. I like Brian Flores as one of my picks. I like Ryan. I know y'all probably don't care. I'm just looking at nostalgia and what he's done. I'd like to see a Leslie Frazier or Rex Ryan come in here. Bring some of that tough football back.
That's what I want. Yeah, tough.
Bring some tough football.
Jim McMahon already said that. They don't care. The Bears, I'm going to interrupt you, JB, but real quick, when you talk about Leslie Frazier, the Bears don't care nothing about that, man. And that's a good pick, though. That's a great pick. Go ahead, man. But the Bears don't care nothing about that.
But they should. And that's the thing.
They should. Yeah.
Because those are good coaches, right? And then for me, mine is a personal pick, whether you pair him with an older coach or whether you finally give him a shot. Can Eric Bieniemy finally get some love? Because we know 2 things for sure about Eric Bieniemy. He's an asshole, which means he's no nonsense. And 2, he helps develop quarterbacks. He does. The man knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. So why not give, if you're going to give anybody that's going to be, well, has he ever been a head coach before? No, but he's been an assistant head coach while that particular team had one of the most prolific offenses. And then he came back when the cupboard was almost bare and still did enough to win 2 Super Bowls. He's got 3. Why not give the man a shot?
I mean, I did. I wanted to throw one more name out there that I did totally space out about, but at the same time, I don't think it will happen. And that's 49ers firing their head coach. I still don't think they will, but there are rumors after this season that they're thinking about it. But again, I don't think it's a possibility. But if that happens, then he's my number 1 choice.
Those rumors
John Lynch and Cunningham are like this, man. They're like this.
He is.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too. It's all just noise. But I wanted to throw that name out there for sure.
You got to remember, they're not going to fire that man with all the injuries they've had. Defensive line. Offensive line.
Their team.
Debo was hurt. Ayuk is out for the season. CMC, he's only played his second, third game. He's not going nowhere. You talk about job security, he got it.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I got a couple coaches. Number 1 coach is I'm going to put it out there. I wanted him before they hired Flus. I wanted Brian Flores. I wanted Brian Flores to come in and be the next Chicago Bears head coach. When they hired Eberflus, I thought he was the man capable of getting the job done. We've seen what he can do as far as defensively. Of course, during that interview process, I have to see who the hell you talking about bringing in as offensive coordinator. Got to know that because Caleb right now is our number 1 priority here, followed by the offensive line number 2. His development is the sole purpose of everything. Offensive line will be number 2. Another coach that I would like to see come in and possibly get a shot. We can go with a couple first year potential guys in the Ben Johnson, the Thomas Brown. If something happens, I saw Cricket Commission put up in there and talked about Zach Taylor. I wouldn't mind sitting up there if somehow the Bengals got rid of Zach Taylor. I wouldn't mind bringing Zach Taylor in. Also, let me see who's another coach that I would like to see. Like JB said, Leslie Frazier. And
doing this year?
I refuse to want to bring in a coach from college. I know some people been sitting up there talking about bringing in coaches from college. I think I was watching the CHGO podcast and one of them was talking about Dan Lemon from Oregon. And another coach from some other college. I don't want a college coach. Right now, the Chicago Bears team is a team that's built to win right now. That's why first-year head coaches are like sort of on the back burner. I need a coach that's gone and done this before. That's why I'm also leaning towards that. Now, a question that I do want to ask you guys, and I heard someone say this, and I think it's absurd for a team to do this, well, particularly for us to do this. But would you consider trading a first-round pick for a head coach?
No, not
this year. No, not this year.
No. Me personally, with what we need, as far as on both sides of the line, no, we can't afford that.
Yes.
No, we can't afford that.
Now, the crazy part is I actually heard people say that they would. I heard some people say that they would, to get the right coach, that they would trade a first-round pick.
I
wouldn't do it. Throw out a name like a Kyle Shanahan. If the 49ers trade a first-round pick for him. I still don't think I would trade a first-round pick for him.
No, I wouldn't trade for him.
You have the potential to have our first-round pick and the Panthers' second-round pick, which could be high in the second round. Get your center and your left tackle, right tackle right
away.
Those should be the first two picks. And giving away a first round pick, considering how bad we are, that could be a generational kid we missing on.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trade that, because that's an asset that we can't give up. Because guess what? Next year we got 2 picks again. The year after that, we back to normal. So why would you give up? You know what I'm saying? That bounty now. Now, if we move and grooving, and you say, you know what? And you want to go that direction later down the line, that tells me 2 things. One, you don't have value in the coach you just selected for 2025, right? And then 2, Ryan Poles, are you going to get your third coach? Probably not. So now you're starting all over again with the coach GM search, right? I don't think that's a good idea. We need to go ahead, tie down our anchors, and make sure that we select the right coach who we think is going to be here for a while. And we need to know who is going to develop the kid, because as we saw, I'll go back to Thomas Brown. He was using Frank Reich's playbook. Contrary to what you were saying, Diab, about no bad playbooks, there are bad playbooks. Look at Luke Getsy's. He got fired November 4th or 2nd or whatever it is. Playbook sucks. We told you all here his playbook sucks. But he was using Frank Reich's playbook, and you didn't see Bryce Young look like anything. The minute he got fired and Thomas Brown got his hands on Bryce Young, he looked a little better. But we don't need Caleb to look a little better. We need Caleb to be there and be the savior, right? Yeah. Not this year, like we were talking about, but going into next year, he has to take a step.
Yeah. My thing is, I want the Bears to go against the grain, because history tells us the last 4 head coaches, let's do something different. We're all defensive-minded, defensive coordinators. All the last 4. Let's get offensive head coach, man, and let him pick the D coordinator. You know, let's just try something different. You know what I'm saying? The last 4, which is a total of 3, 6, 9, 12 years. 12 years. And I'm just giving each of the last 4 3 years, which they had. That's 12 years. A defensive coordinator that's head coaches. It hasn't worked. Well, I don't know who he's gonna be. I would like for him to be a veteran offensive coordinator, or a veteran head coach that's offensive minded. But man, let's just try something different, man.
Well, we did with Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy was the OC in Kansas City. Matt Nagy just didn't have anything to do with Patrick Mahomes. Matt Nagy's claim to fame was being under Andy Reid's tutelage, and
was standing on that sideline next to Andy Reid. Yeah.
All right. So this is what I want to do right now. I want to sit up there. I want to address some of the people. I want you guys to chime in on some of the questions that we got in the chat. One of the questions was in there. What do you guys think about Bill Belichick? Start off with you, Amp.
Nope. Game has passed him by. Nope.
Yeah.
Frank?
I'm the same with Amp, man. It too old school. All right. The way he plays the game nowadays, I feel like, is too old school. Experience, I love it, but I'm going to pass on that one. I want somebody who's more known to throw the ball out there and get your quarterback rolling.
Oh, okay. What about you, JB?
I'm torn. I don't think a guy that has that many Super Bowls and wins to his credit, I don't think the game has passed him by at all. I just wonder if he would come in here and be bigger than the organization.
Good point, too.
So another question. Well, I'll ask this part. Do you think that the Chicago Bears ownership will hire a guy like Bill Belichick with his type of reputation as far as, I wouldn't say just the ownership, but upper management, because Bill Belichick likes to be in charge, which I think that's what he was in charge there in New England. I think he was basically like the president and the GM there. So do you think that will be a problem with Ryan Poles and with the president?
Let's go back real quick. Let's go back to Bill Belichick. Let's not forget, the caveat is like he had to go. He had to go. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
his
but
coaching
also
was
the
easy.
caveat, Amp, would he still be the GOAT if he didn't have Bill Belichick? That was a great quarterback coaching. That was a great quarterback.
It was, but I saw the man. I saw the man win 11 games with what's that quarterback?
Who?
Oh yeah,
fuck.
Can't
remember. What are you talking about? Matt Castle?
Matt Castle, because then Matt Castle ended up going to the Chiefs.
Where he was shit.
Right, where he was shit. So I mean,
he had a couple of people. There was another quarterback too that came. Oh, didn't fucking Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah, Jimmy G came from over there.
He in New England too.
He didn't have a full stint like that.
Yeah, I was just about to say Jimmy G doesn't count.
He had pieces. Yeah.
He had. But
Jimmy G doesn't count. But yeah,
my point in saying that is yes, it helps because obviously you look at Tom Brady and say, well, he went somewhere else and won without Bill Belichick, but that someone else just happened to be a damn good coach who I wanted years ago, but nobody wanted Bruce Arians in Chicago. I think just me and you, Chris. That was it.
Well, I wasn't on the show back then, so I can't justify, but I would have loved to have.
There wasn't no show back then. We was just talking.
That makes sense then. That makes sense.
My brother said Mike Vrabel.
I don't mind Vrabel, but it depends on who was OC.
Mike Vrabel was on my list of coaches that I would sit up there and want to see. But once again, we're talking about the Chicago Bears. Let's not take it out of context. The Chicago Bears just made Chicago Bears history today by firing the first ever coach in season. So are they willing to go and do something that they normally don't do, which is hire a coach with a strong personality that may clash with the GM, that may clash with the president, that may clash with ownership?
I don't think they have a choice. I don't think they have any other recourse, man. I think they must find a
I think they damn sure do got a choice because this is what they've been doing for the longest.
Connection with him and Poles, and he has to let Poles know after watching this, a coach can come into an interview and say, like, look, I went over the last couple of seasons, and this I wouldn't do. I would have said something when they hit my quarterback in the head 4 times in the game. I wouldn't have just stood there. I would have told my quarterback. I gave him 2 plays to run. And you know what I'm saying? Once we get down a certain amount of time frame, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be that coach that says that sells itself to Poles like I'm that guy. So if I don't like it, I'm not gonna call it. And so and you know what I mean? That's what it's gonna come down to. It's gonna come down to the interviewer and the interviewee. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is me. This is who I am as a coach. And looking at whoever it may be, looking at how they coach. Yeah, we can talk all day about what it is, you know, but when you got it on film, there it is.
Let me push back on that slightly because now to what Fowl was saying, are you bringing in a personality that's bigger than the organization, a personality that's bigger than the similar to Dallas? Jimmy Johnson should probably still be the coach of the Cowboys, but you know what? He was getting bigger than Jerry Jones. He didn't like that. You're not going to outshine me. You got to go. I'm not saying Ryan Poles is like that, but clearly the Bears organization wants the world to know we run things in this
This is why we still fucking suck.
And you know what? To piggyback off of that, what is the Lions head coach name? What is the Lions head coach name?
Dan Campbell.
Campbell, right? When Campbell was hired, everyone laughed when he said, we're going to bite him at the kneecaps. You know what I'm saying? And like now, I'm saying, first of all, man, the Lions is a dirty team, man. The record speaks for itself. I love how they're playing. They're nasty. Just nasty. You know, they remind me of the old Tampa Bay team, man. You know, the defensive side, like step on you after they knock you down. You know what I'm saying? Or when Ndamukong Suh was there, knock you over and then kick you. You know what I'm saying? They nasty like that. But when they were interviewing him that first year, as they were rebuilding, and he was talking about, I told my team we're gonna bite him at the kneecap. Everybody laughed. Yeah. Everybody laughed at that statement. And now look at him. He's like you said, JB. He's a leader of men, and I'm not saying he was the best. He was the best thing out there, but they took that chance, and now he's a leader of men, and they play nasty. But they play nasty, man. That's what I want to see. I want some old Chicago Bear football on both sides of the ball. I want some nasty.
But circumstances is different. He was a hard-nosed tight end, one. Two, he's got Aaron Glenn, who's a borderline DB Hall of Famer, calling his defense, and then he's got the baby boy genius Ben Johnson in offense. See, those circumstances came together to produce what.
But they tore the whole team down, though, JB. He didn't have anything to work with. They remember they were in that rebuild. They had tore it down.
The Lions have rebuilt that team in 2 years. Mm-hmm. This is the third year of that program. 2 years, they've rebuilt it. We right now, we don't have the luxury to say, can a Dan Campbell come in here with the rah-rah and it happens to work? We need a proven guy that's going to come in here and be like, do this, do this, do this. And you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to botch the field goal at the end of the game. I'm not going to let the clock run out at the end of the game. I'm not going to
experienced coach too.
I'm not going to put Justin Jones on David Njoku at the end of the game. I'm not going to run for 200 yards in the first half and not run the ball but 2 more times in the second half. That's why I said you got to have a guy that knows what he's doing, battle-tested, been in some type of scenarios or circumstances to where they can come out and eliminate those decisions. Because we saw it with Tressman, we saw it with Nagy. When we saw it with John Fox, he told you, man, I don't want Mike Glennon, and I damn sure don't want Mitch Trubisky, but they didn't listen.
Okay.
Two different teams to the Super Bowl, and they didn't listen.
Well, some other coaches that people put out there were they were talking about Ken Dorsey. I saw quite a few people put in Joe Brady as potential coaches that they would like to see the Chicago Bears, possibly interview. Because let's not get it twisted. At the end of this season, no matter what Thomas Brown does, there will be an interview process for the next Chicago Bears head coach. Okay, so I want to sort of go back to the news of the day, which is Matt Eberflus getting fired. Now, I want you guys to go on. I want you guys to basically tell me a few things that you think were some of the causes or the failures that Matt Eberflus had that really resulted in him ultimately getting fired and being the first head coach in Chicago Bears history to get fired during the season.
I wrote them down.
Since you wrote it,
I'm not gonna lie, I expected a much bigger fucking paper than that.
Since you wrote it down, JB, you can go ahead. You can kick it off. And you guys, and the thing is this: the guys in the chat, you can chime in too. We're gonna try to address that as well if it pertains to what we're exactly talking about right then and there. Go ahead, JB.
The first thing that I wrote down with Matt Eberflus is hits. That's the first thing I wrote down, HITTS. Because I think coming in, wanting to be a leader of men and establish some type of bravado with this team, you can't come in here with them Pop Warner colloquialisms. You can't do it. You got to come in here with some hard-hitting evidence that, like, I know what I'm doing.
So no acronyms, huh?
No. Second thing, I don't know if you can see it. Hiring Luke Getsy. He was Aaron Rodgers' gopher. You know what a gopher is? Go for this. Go for that. Go get this. He went and got that man's coffee, tea, crumpets, and ayahuasca. He didn't have nothing to do with coaching. He didn't know what he was doing. Now, I did get a little personal because I don't want to take up anybody else's time, but I'm just going to say the 2 games. I'm going to say, 1, you don't lose to Detroit being up 2 scores with 4 minutes left. You don't. 2, you don't let your offensive coordinator tell you, oh, we got 28 points. That's our high water mark. We should win. And then go.
Yeah, but you know what? Real quick, Debbie, that goes back to having not being able to control the team. You know what I'm saying? That goes to that. Go ahead.
I was getting to that because that shows that's when a leader of men will tell your OC, hey man, cut this backyard football shit out and go score. Kill these bums. Get it over with. And then the last one I mentioned too, and I'll leave it at this because I want somebody else to be able to talk. At no point in time do you ever put a defensive 330-pound defensive tackle on a tight end that runs a 4.5 40 per game. Those are fireable offenses, and that's just my short list. I've got more, but I want to go ahead and pass it off.
Yeah,
right, go ahead, Frank.
I was done with leaving points on the board. I was done with that, man. I was done with that. And it's like consecutively, you know, and not going for field goals, not challenging, you know, obvious play calling. I mean, it was almost like his head wasn't even in the game. Or either that, matter of fact, I know what it was. It wasn't that his head was in the game. He was coaching scared. So you got to kind of give him that caveat because he knew that he was on the hot seat. But he was missing crucial. That was my thing about it. That's when I knew he had to go. When he's leaving the points on the field, wasn't kicking the field goals, going for 2 points when it wasn't necessary, running, like you said, running the tackle at the goal line. You know what I'm saying? We ended up fumbling the ball. Then we had 2 healthy running backs at that point. You know what I'm saying? We had 2 healthy running backs. Why are you running to center? You know what I'm saying? It's just stupidity. Just stupidity, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't get fancy with it. Keep it simple, stupid. And so at that point, I was done with him.
Okay. All right, Frank.
Well, I mean,
what you got?
This is the point, and I'm gonna be the JB of this show right now, and I'm gonna be the realist. Obviously, we all figured that we didn't want him back this year. I mean, and it was a whole fucking book of reasons why you could have said we didn't want him back this year. The only reason we probably gave him a chance because we grew a beard and we thought he changed. But the thing is, this season was his only year that he was going to have to actually be able to prove himself. And obviously it was a failed year, but these last 3 games, I feel that the ownership really listened to how pissed off the fan base is and how pissed off the fucking, we'll just say reporters, all people in the NFL. This last game was their final straw. Like, I mean, 3 straight games, you can say, where technically a coach's decision kind of lost us the fucking game. And I think they finally just listened and said, dude, we're going to lose the fucking fan base.
But you know what, Frank? They always have. If you go back, they always have. They don't make moves. This organization does not make moves until they become the spotlight of the national media.
You're not wrong.
So
on
the
that.
you know what I'm saying? AM 1000 can talk about them. 670, the score can talk about them. They can all talk about them. And the McCaskies will sit there. You know what I'm saying? Counting that bread. When the national media start talking about them, when former head coaches, not like exactly. So that I get what you're saying. That's what happened.
This is
they always do it.
For the first time in my fucking 37-year history of watching this fucking team, I feel that the ownership finally just said, oh, yeah, we're fucked. We're firing a coach midseason.
That's not the first time, right? That's what I'm saying. That's not the first time. It's every time. It's every time the national media talks about them. Go back in history. And like they'll sit there until the national media makes the Bears, enemy number 1.
Have the Bears fired a head coach mid-season? It's never happened before, so we can't say it's.
No, that part never happened. But when the national media really gets at them,
the national media has gotten after our coaches and our ownership mid-season plenty of times, and still nothing changed. Everybody knew. Everybody knew that the coach was gone that following year when it was going to happen. But they did it mid-season, and for the first time in my fucking life, I can say thank you, McCaskies, for fucking not allowing this shit to drag.
Because Eberflus wasn't smart enough not to double down on his stupidity. He wasn't smart enough. He stood up there at the presser yesterday and said, well, I had 32 seconds, and I counted 18 seconds for the play. So I go along with my decision. He was dumb enough at a presser, a national presser, to say, I made the right call. That the ownership had no choice.
Yeah.
They had no choice.
I'm going back to that comment right now that Jonathan Daniels just posted, the one before this one. Said it perfectly. And I'm not saying Poles' decision. This is Kevin Warren stepping up and saying, we're fucking done. I feel Kevin Warren was the one who stepped up and said, we're done.
Yeah, he was in the locker room. He was in the locker room yesterday. Yeah, he was there. So, yeah, it could do that.
Yeah, supposedly, I don't know if it's true because it was just on sports media and news reporters and everything, that Kevin Warren was the one who called an immediate fucking meeting with ownership, with Poles, with all these people, and nobody knew what it was about, but everybody knew what it was about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to your point, Frank, there was rumors out there that yesterday after the game that all considerations was at the table at Hallis Hall. There was also, I guess, a delay in the meeting today as far as Eberflus speaking. I know that Jonathan Daniels was stating that they were bogus, and Kevin Fishbane put that out too as well, that the Chicago Bears was bogus for letting him come out there, have a whole interview session. And then, but the crazy part about it was that after that interview, during that interview, he stated that he had another meeting that he had to go to with Ryan Poles and Warren. That's right then and there when the wheels started turning. I said, "Oh, they about to fire his ass."
Right before the
they about to fire him. But even when a reporter asked him, they were like, "Well, do you still think that you're going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears?" He said, "I'm just looking forward to coaching and getting the team ready for the game against San Francisco." Let's not get it confused. This right here, what Matt Eberflus has gone and done the last 4 games has been something pretty much never done, even with all the bad coaches that we've had in Chicago Bears history. The coaching blunders. It's not that the team sucks, because we're going to have some teams where the team sucks and the fucking coach sucks. But we haven't had it where it's obvious that it's not the fucking players, that it's the coaching. And by him fumbling the challenges, the man is 2-9, I think, this year in challenges or something like that. In challenges.
He's 0 for 6 this year.
So you mean to tell me you couldn't hire a guy like Amp? You couldn't hire a guy like JB? You couldn't hire a guy like Frank? You couldn't hire a guy like me to sit in a fucking booth to look at a fucking goddamn camera or a replay and sit up there and say, "Hey, yo, we need to challenge this shit."
You challenge that.
This shit is challengeable.
You see your opponents rushing to the line. Challenge that. Somebody should be sitting there and not just sitting there. I'm gonna piggy off of that, pal. Not just sitting there. Somebody should be standing next to him. An assistant, just like Getsy was. Just like Getsy was up in and up north. Standing next to Sharon and saying like blah 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 blah. It wasn't much for Sharon, like, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Flus needed somebody standing next to him and saying, "Hey, we have 32 seconds on the clock right now," because obviously, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't do it by himself.
Well, I mean, if you just look at him, man, if you look at him on the sideline, he looks completely not fucking worried at all. That anything is like he's not even there, like he's in the fucking Twilight Zone. Yeah. And that someone else put in there another reason why he got fired: fucking time management. Yeah. His time management throughout his tenure here in Chicago has fucking sucked. Do you know that this man had a 1? And so also he's gone and lost, I think, 5 or 6 games where the Chicago Bears have had at least a 95% chance of fucking winning the game. Yeah. And for an individual, and they literally put this out there, some statistician fucking nerd, some mathematician nerd, they have a place in sports now too. I don't know how the fuck they got in there, but they have a place in sports. Put out that in order for the chances of somebody blowing that many fucking games is 1 in 648 fucking million. You have a better chance of winning the fucking lottery than blowing fucking 5 or 6 games with a 95% chance or higher of winning the fucking game.
Yeah.
That right there is a fireable offense. The national media got on his ass and said that he should have been fired weeks ago. They really dug into his ass. And then the reason why I think most importantly that he sat up there and he was fired today was because for the simple fact, like you said, Amp, this shit happened on a national stage. This shit, you got your ass shown to you on a national stage and showed how incompetent that you are as a head coach. And it's unfortunate. I think Matt Eberflus, he may look like a pretty nice guy. He may be a great fucking person to talk to. He may be a player's coach. But even at the end of the day, his players turned on him. Talk to Keenan Allen. Talk to fucking DJ Moore. Jaquan Brisker sending out tweets. Go ahead.
And DJ Moore, I tell my brother this at the last 5 games I've been watching. DJ Moore, I call him a frenemy to our QB. I call him a frenemy. You know what I'm saying? He is doing that QB no justice, man. Cutting off routes, running short. You know what I'm saying? Not following the kid when the kid leaves the pocket. He is doing that kid no justice. I don't know what it is. And check this out. Y'all can go back and watch some film, watch some games. That he is doing that kid no justice. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's clicking with Rome. That's why he's clicking with Keenan Allen. I mean, because DJ Moore, and once he gets the touchdown, he's like, yeah, I'm with it. Other than that, he is doing that kid no justice, man. And him, besides Keenan Allen, he was there. He just got the bag. So check this out, and the C on his jersey. I always go with that, man. That C means something. You have to lead. That's why you should have it on there, because you're a leader.
Let me tell you something. Let me ask you this, Ant. How many guys do they got that are fucking captains on this squad?
Yeah. That's my point. That's my point. I said the same thing. Don't get me wrong, pal. I said the same thing the first game when the rookie came out with a C on his jersey, and everybody's like, "No, man, no, he's a number 1 overall pick." I'm saying like, no. To me, maybe it's just me, JB. Maybe it's just me. I'm old school, man. That C means something. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't just go to.
Yeah,
it should be earned, right? But at the same time, I feel that whole captain thing, that just goes back to Eberflus identifying the wrong people. Like he's had 8 people through his 3 years that he's fired.
Yeah.
Like he just can't identify talent.
9 people.
Good at it, right?
But 8 fired, one terminated by human resources.
But you still hired him. That's a black eye. And the thing is now, and this is why I asked that question, was this a polls call, a warrant call, or an organizational call? Because now on national TV, you were the only game on. We were made a laughing stock. You don't think them people up there with them billions of dollars are looking like, oh, hell no, you ain't gonna keep making a fool out of me. I think they did it.
I gotta bounce, guys. I gotta bounce. You guys have a good one.
All right, Frank.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna probably be on for another 15 minutes, and then we're gonna call it a wrap.
You know what? It was so bad yesterday, JB. It was so bad that when the game ended, like the Bears players said it. They said it. Like we're standing on the sideline. We didn't know the game was over. We knew that. We looked up and we saw one timeout. We didn't know the game was over. The Lions players was looking. They were on their knees like, "What happened?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Incompetence on a national level. Watching that. I'm talking about the opposition. When your opposition don't know that the game is over, you know, because they know that you have one timeout and they're expecting you to use it. You know what I'm saying? It was just overwhelming. And man, I just can't. I need you guys to watch DJ Moore because maybe it's just me. Forget the C on the jersey. He's not. My opinion is like he's not giving that rookie what he needs. Even he's in the slot, man.
You can't keep constantly putting it all on DJ because let's be honest. Hold on before you go on your rant. You can't put it all on DJ because let's be honest. Yesterday, Caleb Williams hasn't had a connection. Well, actually, all season he hasn't had a connection with DJ Moore. Prime example was yesterday during one of the clutchest moments when DJ Moore came straight across. If he leads him and doesn't throw a dirt ball at him, DJ may go ahead and score. And we're not even having this conversation right now. It's not all on DJ. Now, DJ is going to be like most wide receivers. Most wide receivers are divas. Most wide receivers will sit up there and tell you when they know the ball ain't coming their way, they don't really give a shit and they really give in half-ass efforts. If you talk to them personally, they'll never say that shit in the media. But if you talk to them personally, they will sit up there and say it. Now, I'm not condoning anything that DJ Moore is doing. But I can't sit up there and say that DJ Moore isn't giving Caleb Williams a chance because if he wasn't giving Caleb Williams a chance, he would have dropped that damn touchdown yesterday, too.
Yeah. You know what, Val? I say that because DJ Moore said it at the beginning of the season. Talking about I had a connection with the last quarterback. He's a veteran. That's why I'm not getting the ball. That's when I started calling him a frenemy. When he went to when he
not
said
being a frenemy. I mean, if you ask him a question. So tell me, if you ask a person, go ahead, John.
No, I was just gonna say that's being realistic because
you want him to lie?
Justin Fields got DJ Moore that contract he got going on right now, and DJ Moore was like, "Yeah, I can play for this guy."
yeah, but you don't say that out loud, JB. You don't say that to the media. Some things you don't. You got to keep in house.
We don't say that to the media, but this is a different generation where they tell you what's going on. All that in-house stuff from back in the day where we were bred that you don't let that stuff out. Those days are gone. They're gonna let you know how they feel, whether you agree with it or not. Now, the only thing, and Fallon and I talked about it last week, that I will give credit to because I said, wow, DJ was fourth in targets last game, but had all the yards. Well, hell, this game he had 16 targets and only 8 receptions because Caleb was off. Caleb was only 20 or 39, guys. Come on, that's a tick over 50%. That ain't DJ's fault. It's not like DJ was dropping the ball. That ain't his fault. He was missing them high, missing them low, throwing ground balls. That's not on DJ. You can't put that on DJ. Whether you
I'm saying, all I'm saying is watch him. Watch what I'm saying. I'm not saying he wasn't targeted. He wasn't targeted. It's how he plays, man. It's how he plays. And I think that, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, of course, he's a veteran. And that's my point. He was targeted 16 times. And what you say? But 16 of 8?
Yeah.
He hit him 8 times?
He hit 8 out of 16.
Yeah. He should have had at least 12, 14, man. I mean, because he was alligating arms. He was alligating arming it. He wasn't running complete routes. He wasn't going to the first down marker where a kid threw the ball to. You know what I'm saying? Where he cut off routes. And I'm saying this just wasn't yesterday. This just wasn't yesterday. DJ been doing this since he got the bag, man.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And yes, wide receivers are demons. I'm telling you what I see, man.
There are games when DJ is almost like a forgotten player.
Not just him, Cole Kmet, Rashawn Johnson, when the list goes on and on. You know, not just him. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back to your offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying?
That is part of the problem as well. But my point is, if you're watching the game and you see a player that's giving up on plays, not getting to a spot, well, 12 games later, I'm frustrated because I've been busting my ass doing what I'm asked to do, and I'm not even getting the ball, not getting targeted. Like Chris said, they're divas. There's never a receiver that doesn't want the ball every chance they can get. That's not what they're bred to do. But to sit up here and say that it's his fault, no, you have to go back and really look at the game to see there were balls where DJ was as wide open as all outdoors, and Caleb throws it like he's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That ain't on DJ. And it's not about his lack of running routes. It's about that just was a bad start. Maybe it was too much pressure. Thanksgiving, national media, everybody and their mama watching, Pookie and Ray Ray and Nook and all them watching too because it's Thanksgiving. And the kid just succumbed to the pressure in the first half. Thomas Brown pulled him over, settled him down, which to Lorenzo's credit, if we had a guy that could have nurtured that earlier in the year, our fortunes may have been different. We may not have worried about Matt Eberflus putting us in position to lose games because, like Chris said, if he hits him on that crosser, DJ Moore has a touchdown. Now the Lions are the one that have to make the decisions on how do we come back? Where do we go wrong? We're not having this conversation.
Yeah. And one thing that we also have to realize is that our offensive line is a weakness, true enough. But the offensive line has played better the last couple of weeks, and a lot of that is due to the play calling of Thomas Brown, the way he's been setting them up as far as leaving guys in to get chipped. The one reason why we saw a lot of things that was messed up on this play, because we knew the minute that they punted that ball, there was no way in hell that Detroit was going to get that ball back.
They wasn't.
I think we had the ball at the 1 yard line with 3 minutes and 6 seconds. There's no way in hell I'm giving Detroit that ball back. So you're going to have to do a lot of shotgun formations, which is, to me, watching the game is a big disadvantage because we got 5 and you already got your right tackle who's out for the fucking game. It looked like he tweaked his knee or something yesterday. And you got Larry Bohm in there, who I fucking wouldn't want to put in there. First of all, the offensive line coach needs to know players. This is one thing my coach always told me: know your personnel. You need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. There's no way in here Larry Bohm, big ass, should have been over there at right tackle. You should have moved Pryor over to right tackle. Larry Bohm in the right guard. Simply put, throughout the whole fucking season, I've been saying that Tevin Jenkins should not be the left fucking guard. He should be the right fucking guard, where you got your 2 pillars over there with Wright and Jenkins over there, who did work last year while Nate Davis was out. And Jenkins, I believe, had an 80 PFF score, one of the top fucking guards in the NFL. When playing. Yeah. So they need to run more underneath center, but I get it. They had to do the shotgun to spread it out a little bit to get up out of the situation. So we got to sit up there. We got to realize we got to utilize our strengths, which is not the fucking offensive line. And they had to do what they had to do. Caleb, he's been off target. He seemed like he was a little bit too excited. And it seems like when there's big games, like nationally televised games like that, I think he gets a little too amped and he seems a little too erratic until the game starts. He starts playing a little bit more. And as the later the game goes, he gets a little calmer. And then that's when you see him come back. Because I will give him this. That kid has fucking ice in his veins. Because he has brung us back plenty of times down multiple fucking scores to put us in position to win. It's just that the coaching has constantly been failing.
I was just about to say that, pal. That's all I was gonna say. You know, when he gets set to that level, that heightness, that's when the coach comes in and say, "Hey, kid, you know, you got this." So somebody should be telling them, like, you got this. You can, you know what I'm saying? You can get us down there. But who did he have? So I agree with you on that. Yeah. I agree. Everything you said.
Yeah. Vonswell, because we got to get these guys in the chat real quick before we sign off. Vonswell says, do y'all think the Bears were ever going for the field goal? I don't at first. I think they were going for the win at first.
They were going for the win.
Yep. They did. They were going for the win. And they were just looking at, damn, do we want to go to overtime again and possibly have what happened against Minnesota happen again? So I don't think they were ever planning on going for the tie. There was no point on it.
Yeah, I think that fucking blown goddamn, what was that, second down where both the fucking ends came in? I think that really fucking killed it right there. Nobody has said exactly from the Bears organization or from the coaching staff has said what the play call was on that second down that I've heard. I mean, maybe they did, but I didn't hear it yet. So I don't know exactly what the play call right there, but it was a totally clusterfuck.
He said it was a draw. They said it couldn't say it at the presser, but he indicated that it was supposed to be a draw play. He said he couldn't say it.
And you know what? That draw play probably would have been pretty damn good because it would have gave Caleb a chance to run up the middle of the field because we pretty sure know that they were guarding the sidelines, so the Bears wouldn't get the sidelines.
Did Caleb know it was a draw? Because clearly he took 3 steps back and was like, "Oh shit."
I mean, shit. Somebody said it was JD said it was a stupid play call. I don't think it was. I think it was if it was blocked up right, I think it could have popped because you know your defenders are going to be guarding the sidelines anyway. So that whole middle of the field is going to be fucking open. You got to do something. You got to do something that's going to catch the defense off guard. A draw play like people saying it's a stupid ass play call because people wouldn't have called it. But then again. Exactly, you wouldn't have called it, so that's why it probably would have popped because it's not a play that you're expecting to get.
And you're at least in field goal range at minimum. At minimum,
you can sit up there. You ain't gonna probably get the first down, but at least you in minimal field goal range, and you lining it up straight in the fucking middle, so you ain't got to go on the side worry about it getting blocked on the left. You ain't got to worry about it going on the right and getting blocked. So yeah, it was. I wasn't mad at the play call. I was just mad at the execution of the shit. But thank everybody for coming on to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. You know, we went live today with this breaking news of Matt Eberflus being the first ever Chicago Bears head coach fired during the season. History was made. Unfortunate. It's Black Friday, literally.
You're fired! You're fired!
Yeah, he got the Vince McMahon today. So unfortunately, he was fired. We wish him nothing but the best. It's nothing personal with any coaching staff or nothing with Matt Eberflus. He never did anything personally done to me. So I'm cool with Flus. But yeah, please remember to like and subscribe to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast and also subscribe to us on TikTok. We're looking for 1,000 subscribers. We're getting close on TikTok, so therefore we can go live on that platform as well. So for the Crooked Commish, our boy Frank the Tank, JB, our boy Amp, I'm Foul Mouth C. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. And people, we out.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
I think we're still alive. We're live.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse